Hello, educators. Welcome to our virtual summit. I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Tanya Hyatt. I'm a senior marketing manager with eDynamic Learning and a former teacher myself. And I'm really excited and proud to kick off our workshop today with Google for School and Classroom Communications and Collaborations. We begin our summit with a well-known Google expert, Tyler Tarver. Tyler is a dean of NLC College and a YouTube educator. He's the creator of the educational resources at tarveracademy.com and has amassed over 14 million views on YouTube and 60,000 subscribers. He's also written 3 books, is a Google Innovator, a Google Certified Trainer, and was on the Google Forms expert team. He's also an Apple Distinguished Educator and an Apple Foundation Certified Trainer. He hosts the Education Academy podcast, the Neil and Tyler Explain Everything podcast, and has been a teacher, facilitator, principal, and a director of curriculum instruction, communications, personnel, and technology. Woo, it's a mouthful.
It is.
Many of you have provided questions when you registered for this workshop. So if time permits, after Tyler's presentation, we'll provide several questions for him to answer. With so many of you on the virtual call today, you will remain on mute, but I want you to know that you can communicate with us, so feel free to ask any additional questions in that chat panel on the GoToWebinar control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll do our best to get those questions answered. However, if we don't have time to address them, because 25 minutes goes very fast, we'll be sure to follow up with you. So without further ado, thanks, Tyler, so much for being with us today. I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank you guys so much for letting me chat with you today about some things that I'm very passionate about and I think can help educators and students in big ways. So I'm going to kind of throw out, this is like the highlight reel of some stuff with regards to Google for School and classroom communication collaboration. There's so much more. And you're like, well, I didn't talk about this. It's because I only had 25 minutes. So I'm going to try to roll through this pretty quick. I'm not going to show you a bunch of tutorials, but I've got a solution for that here at the beginning. So I do want to say I talked to them and they let me give away a few books. I'm going to give away a few education books that I love. Well, 2 I love and then a book I wrote that's not very good. All you have to do to enter to win that is subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tarver Academy. Just go to YouTube, search Tarver Academy. And the resources will help you, but you also might win some free books. Okay, enough about me. Let's get rolling. Okay, I say enough about me, and then I go to a slide about myself. That's ridiculous. I only put this in here just because it's like, some people are like, why is this 11th grader running for student council vice president on this call? Only thing I want to focus on here is I was a principal of a school I taught. I was a principal when I was in central office. But when I was a principal, our school had waivers where we could have students that showed up to school all day like a traditional school day, but also they could stay at home and work from home or have a blended, like they're half at school like a couple days and then they go home for the other days. So we got the chance back in 2013 to start a school that dealt with kind of how all the schools are having to operate right now. So what I'm trying to say is all the struggles you're having, I promise I've had them. Okay, so I can attest that you are not alone and we hit those struggles. But we learned a lot in the process and hopefully I can give you some stuff that adds value to you. Now, I said earlier that I'm not gonna get the chance to go through and do like little how-tos or small tutorials throughout this. I'm not gonna show you, okay, now click on this, now go to this and then do this. The reason I'm not gonna spend a lot of my time doing that is because I've already done that. I've already built a resource that is essentially tutorials on how to do pretty much everything with Google. So if you go to, there's a link to a doc, it's bit.ly/gtarver, stands for Google Tarver. I don't know, I could remember it off the top of my head. That's why I did that. Or you go to my website, tarveracademy.com/Google, and you can sit there and anything that you can think of that has to do with doing something with Google and education, I've got a link to videos showing you how to do that. So if you're like, well, I don't know how to create a Google form, you can click here and it goes to a video of me walking you through how to create a Google form. So anything you might need, here are more tutorial videos than you'll ever want to watch about how to do that. So that's something, if you tune out the rest of the time, hopefully this resource gives you value and reassurance that you can take care of anything you want in your classroom. So here we go. We're talking Google, we're talking communication, we're talking collaboration, okay? Google, while yes, it's a search engine, they also either develop or purchase people who do really great things for educators. And there's a few things that set them apart as a company when it comes to products for education. Number one, it is easy to use, okay? Have you guys ever used a program or a product and you're like, okay, I wanna know how to make this tab blue? And there's like one way to do it, and it's like you have to go and enter the matrix and then go through a labyrinth of steps to get to that one way to do it. One of the things about Google is they make like 5 different ways to do one thing because they know not everybody processes things mentally the same way. What might seem the most natural or basic way for me to make that tab blue, just click on the tab, right click on the tab and turn it blue. They'll make that an option. But for you, it might be, well, I want to go to File, Tabs, Color, Blue. And then they'll make that an option as well. The thing with Google is they try to make everything within their ecosystem very easy to use based on however a person wants to get there. So I love that feature about so many of their products. Second reason is it's integrated. Like I said, they make great products or they buy people who make great products. So what they're doing is they're wanting all those things to work seamlessly in their ecosystem. So if you're creating a Google form, guess what? You can search and insert a YouTube video within the Google form. You know why? Because Google owns YouTube. They want all of their stuff to work well. Well, what do I need to do to create a YouTube channel? Have a Gmail account. You've automatically got a YouTube channel. They want everything they own to work together very easily, and your one email address, your Gmail, they want that to be like your access card for everything, because we all know teachers have spent too much time trying to remember passwords for the 400 websites we're supposed to go to, and it's frustrating. And so what Google wants to do is they want to make that easier. Okay. And the third thing is they are focused on helping you build a community. So when we talk about communication and collaboration, I think of a community, and we all find community in different ways. Traditionally, it's a face-to-face in person. However, with our students today and how they're growing up with the technology they have and access to their phone and resources and social media, they are finding community anywhere they want. So for instance, when I was in school, it's like, okay, I want to get involved in a group at school. I could join student council, or I could join Spanish club, or I could join the yearbook. So whenever if I didn't like say what I was interested in or passionate about wasn't one of those 3 things, well, there wasn't a club for that. Well, now students can go on and follow any Instagram page they want. They can go and connect with any YouTuber they want, and they can be a part of a group that is narrow based on what they're interested in. And Google knows that because they own YouTube. They're in this world, and they know these niche places. One thing that I want to encourage you to do, and I'm going to show you some ways to do that here in a minute, you need to try to build community with your students, especially if you're doing it remotely. And it can be done, and it is just as real to them as a face-to-face interaction. It's almost more real, because if you're standing in front of a class of 30 students, how many of those students can you individually talk to after the lesson? It's just not time. But now with the resource of using Google and Classroom and all the things that Google offers, you can now actually connect with them on a personal level. Like, they can message you afterwards, or they can stick around in the chat and then talk to you. So you have the option to actually connect in a better way than before. And yes, we might not be used to that or that dynamic, but they are. So I'm going to show you some ways to do that. Unless I run out of time, I'm kidding. We'll get there. Okay, so the first thing is your email. Email is overwhelming. It's overwhelming to me, and I know it's overwhelming to you guys. I'm going to give you this presentation at the end, and when you do, if you see something that is blue, you can click on it, and it shows you a tutorial on how to do that. But there's a couple things I want you to do and change your mindset on with regards to your email. Your email is a to-do list. You cannot not respond to an email because it doesn't feel real to you. If a student sends an email and you don't answer, that is like them sitting in class, them raising their hand to ask a question. You look around, you stare at them, and then you turn and do something else. That's the equivalent of ignoring a student's email, because that is a real communication they are reaching out to. So you have to treat it like a to-do list. And one of the best ways I've found to do that in a way that helps me move forward is to set up my inbox as unread. And that way, if I read it, I know I've checked it off my to-do list or I've replied to it. And if I haven't read it, it's still on my to-do list and I need to take care of it. Okay, I've also got some tips in there on how you can keep yourself from getting 400 emails from Target every day to go in and buy a coffee mug or whatever it is that Target's trying to get us to buy. Okay, so next thing, I want to show you how to use Google Sheets to collaborate. One, you could just use this for yourself, and it could be a resource for you to build and improve your curriculum year after year. It's like a hub for your information and resources and how your lessons are going. But also, whenever I'm talking about this, I want you to imagine, say I teach, because I taught geometry for a while. So say I'm teaching geometry and there's another geometry teacher. We both use like the same book, but we might use different resources or different supplementary things, or you know, YouTube videos or online textbooks, whatever it is, PDFs. We can use those separately, and it's like we don't always think to be like, oh, I need to share this with Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so. With this, you can both build and collaborate in one document that kind of grows and has depth to it. The document is a living, breathing document because you're always adding to it. So I'm going to show you an example of what that would look like. So here we go. Let's say this is your curriculum map. At the bottom, I've got my weeks. So I would go week 1 through 18, and that would be the semester. And in here, I split it up by days of the week. So this is Monday, this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So every year I'll know what I did on a Thursday, this, you know, second week of school. I can go back and look at what I did the year before. Okay. And some little things like, oh, I get that. Like I write that down in my notebook. That's great. But here I can go in and let's say I use this resource and I'm like, oh, let's say this is a really good resource. I can right click and then I can insert a comment and I can tag my friend Leanne and say, hey, look at this. And it will notify her. You can communicate and collaborate from within that document, and she'll get an email notifying her that I said this, and she'll be able to go in and give her opinion. Or I could go in and say, hey, this is a great resource. Do you have one that's better? Anything like that, I can collaborate with them. But also, you know how like every week you have to like email your lesson plans to your principal? Your principal can just be shared with this, and then they can go in and look and see what you're doing at any point in time. Or say they go off and they go to a PD that you can't go to because you're teaching in your classroom, and they see a great resource. They can go in, search your document for a keyword of, you know, slope, and then they can put in that resource for you. It's like an extra resource. Keep building, keep adapting, keep elaborating. And the color on it, so what I did with the boxes, I think it's important to reflect, but I don't think teachers reflect enough. So a quick reflection thing you can do is, if something is good on that Monday, I get done teaching, I'm like, okay, you know what? This was a really good resource. I can make that box green because green is good. Green, go. Yellow, meh. Red, bad. So I just highlight it after that day. And that way, the next year when I come back, I can use myself as like a co-teacher for my classroom. So you're like, this document can help you collaborate with yourself from a year ago because you're showing your future self what worked and what didn't. So there you go. That's one. And I'll give you the link to this document again, and then you can click this and you'll be able to create your own. Fun tip too, whenever you click that, it's going to say this. It's going to have you click here and make a copy of it. That means you will have a copy and I do not have access to it. And you're thinking, well, Tyler, how did you force it to make a copy? This is just a fun, quick tip. Up here in the address bar, or Omnibox, as they call it at Google, do you see right here where it says, right here, let's look up here. You see at the end, see where it says edit. Where is it? Oh, /present slide. Right here after that last one, I would just highlight this, delete it, and write copy. And then you send them that link, it's automatically going to make a copy. And I've got a video on how to do that, so you don't have to memorize it. Just know that it exists. Okay, so I'm going to try to hurry up because I want to answer some questions, but I want to bounce through this. Here's a quick slide on creating a class. Whenever you create a class, very important. When you first sign up for Classroom, make sure you say that you're a teacher. If not, you need to contact your administrator, your school, and they got to add you to the teacher group so that you can do that. Okay, so when you want to go in, you click the plus sign, click create a class. You know this, you know this, we know this, you know this. You don't know this, I've got a video on it. So next thing, here's a little trick I do with Google to keep myself tracking. One of the most important things you need to do when you're setting up your classes and giving assignments in Google Classroom, you need to label everything very clearly and have some sort of numbering system. Some people just number off 1, 2, 3, 4, and they number off for however many assignments and things they do. That's fine. If it works for you, use it. What I like to do is I like to use like a decimal system. So if it's, say it's day 1, I'll use 1 decimal or period or whatever, dot or whatever you want to call it, point. You could do a dot, and then my decimal that in the 10th spot, that is indicating what this post is about. So for instance, if I'm posting something for a review, I'll do for day 1, I'll do 1.1. If it's classwork, it'll be 1.2. If it's homework, 1.3. So I know any .3 I see when I'm going in and finding this resource later, I know that that was a homework assignment. It helps me label the stuff for myself, and I get used to those decimals, and then I can go in and find it. Because here's what you're doing. As you put these assignments in your Google Classroom, next year when you teach that class again, you can go in and find those resources and then repost them into your new class. Okay, easy to find later. You're thinking of next year, okay? Next, this is a great feature in Classroom. Whenever you're giving them a Google Doc or a slide or a sheet or something like that, there's an option right here, and you can see it on my screen. There's 3 options. Either students can view the file, which means they can't mess with it, but they can see it. This is for things you just want them to see. I made this, read this, look at this. The second option, students can edit the file. That means everybody can get in and change it. They can all give input. They can all create slides, and they can build it, and the students can create the presentation, which I love. Or the third option, which is, this is so convenient. Make a copy for each student. So I could make a template of how I want them to put their homework or their answers to an assignment in a Google Doc. And then whenever I click that third option and I send it to my students, what it does is it makes a copy for every single student, and it automatically labels their name and the assignment in the top. And I have access to see all of these from the beginning in my Google Drive. It's incredible. It organizes for me. It puts it in my, like, it's all building it out for you. It's doing the heavy lifting that was just wasting your time. It does it for you, and you have more time to connect with your students and go in and actually look at what they're doing in their assignments before they're due. So there you go. Next, if you're not using Google Meet, you should, okay? Zoom calls, they're fine, they're whatever, blah, blah, blah. But Google Meet is great and is now integrated directly into Classroom. If you don't see it in either of those 2 places I put, you need to go into your settings and make sure you turn it on. And if it's not there, you need to contact your administrator at your school, okay? Because Google Meet is great for collaborating and seeing students. There is an add-on you would need to get to be able to see everybody's screen at the same time. And I've got a video on that too. Or you can just Google how to see grid view Google Meet, and that'll show you how to do it. So you should do that. That way you can see everybody at one time. And it's specific to your class, so it's a lot safer. So definitely get Google Meet, utilize it if you can. Next, whenever you're teaching your class, and this goes for teachers that have a class of students or administrators that are, have a Google Classroom of all their teachers in there, create discussion, okay? So I was thinking, like, I always try to think of how can this feature or how can this tool help teachers? How can it help them teach better in their classroom? So when I was doing that, I was filming and building out a quote of the day, essentially a bell ringer. I don't know if you guys use bell ringers, but it's a bell ringer to where you can post a video in your classroom every day, and it gets the students thinking, it gets their brain going. It's me reading a famous quote. I ask the students for their opinion. Tell me in the comments or in your Google Classroom, give your thoughts on this quote. They can put that in there, and then they can reply to each other. They're giving their thoughts, then I give my thoughts on the quote, and everybody, we're just kind of starting a conversation around famous quotes from notable people. And so find, if you like quote of the day, I've got that. It's obviously, it's a free resource. I've got 180 of those. You can do one every day of the year, and you just schedule them every morning at 8 a.m. Or you can find a resource that applies more directly to your class and what you're wanting to do. But those videos are out there. Find one you like, find that has a library of it, and then start posting it every day. Okay, this is the most important thing I'm going to talk about, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I need you to know it's so important because we're almost out of time. That's why I'm not. You need to create community with your students. And one of the best ways to do that is by making videos where you're talking to them. Right now, I'm looking directly at my camera. You on the other end of that, it looks like I'm looking directly at you, even though I can't see you. I'm in my office by myself. But on the other end of your phone or your computer, it looks like I'm talking directly to you. Hey, how are you doing? You doing well? This is me talking to you. Students are the same way. When you're recording and you're filming it in your phone, they're on the other side of that and they're receiving it as if you're staring at them face to face. Again, it's almost more personal than a classroom, because in a classroom, you're looking around, you're looking up, you're looking at all this. Whenever you're doing a video and you're going directly to them, you're talking to them as an individual, okay? So create your own videos. That is what I'm doing my dissertation on how to make educational videos that people actually stick around for and get value out of. And one of the key things they said is that students connect first with people that they know, okay? So do that, make your own videos. I recommend making a welcome video every day. You can do this on your phone. You can upload it to where it goes to YouTube, or you can upload it and it goes directly into Drive and it's only available to your class, okay? Google has this feature. So just use the Google Classroom app on your phone. And if you're a principal or an administrator or a district level, you should make these for your teachers. This keeps you connected to your people throughout times when you can't see them face to face, okay? Make a video, encourage them, tell them stuff coming up, give them anything. Tell them something about yourself. Tell them a story of something that happened to you the day before. Connect with them through video. When I was a principal, I used to send my announcements out like this. I would record announcements, sometimes with students. I've got a screenshot right there of one. And I would sit there and we would chat about it, chat about the announcements, joke around, and I would email that out to all students. If you've made a video during this time and send it to your students, tell me in the comments. If you're gonna do it, tell me in the comments that you're gonna do it. So, which you should, okay? Next, here's an example schedule for what a day could look like for students if they are working from home or online, okay? You could film your announcement video and then you schedule it to happen at 8 o'clock. That's just for them to get up, see it, kind of get them started. They're drinking their milk or whatever, I don't know, and they're watching your video of you talking to them, just checking in on them, saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. Earlier today, I was working in the yard and blah, 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 whatever. You're talking to them. Okay, you're connecting with them. Then you could throw in a bell ringer from a YouTuber. So you could use one of mine. You could use anybody else's. Crash Course has good ones. This could be reviewing old stuff. It could be something new. It could be something to start conversation. A bell ringer goes live at 8:15. 8:30, you can have their assignment go ahead and post. And you're like, well, Tyler, how can I give my assignment if we haven't reviewed it yet? I've done this in my classes and it works. It's a flipped classroom. Instead of me spending all of my time on the Zoom call doing that, like teaching, I can give them a playlist of someone else teaching all of it, and then they can go in and do it. You can meet for a couple hours and then have like open office hours at the end. I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna roll through this, but I'll give you this at the end. Sound good? We cool? We cool? We still cool? Great. Google Forms. If you're not using Google Forms, you should. They are a great way to assess students, and you can also differentiate your classroom instruction through a Google Form, where if they get it right, they move on. If they get it wrong, they get essentially tutoring, and then they come back. You should do that. You can pick specific groups to send stuff to, which you should do, okay? Do that. Pick different students that need different resources and assign things to them directly. Quick tips. These are some quick tips. You should communicate with people, do polls, get to know people. And also, if your school doesn't have Google, what are they doing? Give your superintendent my number and I'll call them and tell them they're in the wrong. I ran really close to over. I'm so sorry about that. But here's some stuff. Again, if you want those tutorials, tarveracademy.com/Google. This presentation, you can have it at bit.ly/G-classroomy. It's weird, I'm sorry. And then I have an email list where I send out free resources. There it is. Screenshot your screen if you want that. And again, I'm doing a giveaway of these books. I need to stop talking because I think I have like 30 seconds left and I didn't get any time for Q&A. I'm so sorry.
It went fast, didn't it?
It did. I felt like I was in the express lane. It was insane.
There's so much good stuff to cover. So obviously, as you're here, Tyler, kind of round this out here, we are unfortunately out of time. It went so fast, but we really want to say thank you for joining us, especially Tyler, thank you for your expertise in joining us.
Thank you, guys.
A couple of things, and I'm going to point this out to Tyler as well. So there were some really great questions that came in. I tried to adjust them and give you some links in the chat. Tyler, everybody is very much interested in that skill list that you shared. So I did share that document link, but I want to remind everybody, please visit Tyler's website. And I put that in the chat as well. He's got an insane amount of fantastic resources there. So feel free to reach out, and includes all his social media channels there. So as we're kind of rounding out time here, I want to make sure that I'm addressing, were a couple of questions I think are great for Tyler to follow up with you. So I will be sending them over his way, and he'll take time, I guess, to reach out to you.
Yeah, and I'll make a video. If you have a good question, I can make a video showing how to do it. So there's actually a link on my website.
An extra free resource, people. You're also going to receive a certificate of your participation today, as well as a survey. And we'll typically send it out about a day after or so, so just bear with us. And if you would like more information about Tyler, like I said, visit his website, or feel free to reach out to us at hello@edynamiclearning.com. And we will field the questions and pass them along as well. And if you're looking for other sessions throughout our summit, please visit us at, and I'm going to give you a little tiny URL here. You can visit tinyurl.com/EDL Summit. So I just want to say thank you again. Thank you, Tyler, for your insane amount of expertise and your valuable time. I think this was a great resource for everybody to hear. And again, thank you all on the lines for coming and joining in the session and hearing some great information. So with that, I'm just going to say thank you, and we'll conclude our session.
Thank you guys so much.